Yo, yo, what the business is? What's the word on the streets? Well, the last week from the 10th to the 14th, hold up, this pursuit of freedom, people. Hey, but back to these streets, man. It's crazy that we've been having at least some buyer momentum push the stock back up, or push the market back up, push the market back up to test a high, push the market back up to test a high in this area. For some reason, I done got rid of a trend line or a resistance line. But this last week, where's the 10th? Okay, so the 10th was there, the 14th, the last 5 days that the market, no real strong buying momentum existing in the market right now at all. You got death cross for the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Wilshire. Uh, as well as the Russell. Russell is also in a death cross, but you can't see the death cross. I'm just using that. A funny thing to me is that the metals are not picking up the slack, but the VIX has. And I'm going to do a whole video on some of these inverse or some of these uh, investment vehicles that are counter trend. The only thing green up here is the VIX. Everything else, and this is all the way in China with the Nike, the FTSE of Germany, Bitcoin getting mollywopped, um, the dollar versus Japan. I mean, just everything getting beat up on. Pulling back ain't it's all it is. The bears got full control right now. The bull is being slapped in the face. The bull has been backhanded. The bull is getting beat down. But the VIX is getting up. There's always investments, man. You got to have the right amount of skill, right amount of capital, a little bit of trading knowledge. Uh, but this is really for a weekly review. Terrible week for me. Don't mind revealing it to you. It's just a part of the journey. My long-term holdings, it used to be like 26, upwards of probably 30. Etsy is the strongest performing company that I've held for months now. Planet Fitness, Walmart, this Life Advantage I was buying. Let me take a look at that because I do want to see what it's doing. It pulled back today with everything else, and it's right around where I'm in at. So 200 shares, I'm only up $2 in that for right now. But I was up a little bit because I got in. I think, crap. Let me hit that because I ain't trying to make no changes. I got in this week though, starting to chase a different type of strategy, and this thing has been bullish for a very long time. Of course, mid September, October was bad for this stock, but even though that the market is going backwards, this thing ain't pulling back heavy as of yet. See, because even in these long-term holdings, I just really had capital just locked up, but hell, man, you're suffering losses even just doing that. Because I predominantly want to learn how to trade and practice trading. Uh, but like stuff like this, I was thinking at first I would go 10%. If I got anything that's down 10%, I'm pulling out and I'm going to go back to the drawing board and adjust the strategy, not just holding this stuff. The banks are getting murdered. So Ally is the bank. I already cut Bank of America, Wells Fargo, because they're just getting beat up. And then, look at this thing. Wow. Banks getting backhanded. Bear slapping the banks in the face. That means the return to climb back up might be great, but for now they awfully weak and just pull out. That's all you got to do. Come Monday, being that I went to sleep on the market today, didn't even watch it today. I sat in front of my CNBC at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and seeing that the Dow was down 200 some points, the S&P was down, NASDAQ down. I'm done trying to buy counter trend, and that's just it. Even though Fridays are hot days for breakouts, but I'm done trying to buy counter trend. It's a recipe for failure for me. Um, and that's what I've proven in this last week. This is why you paper trade. This is why you practice. Truthfully, right here. Took a number of trades, a lot of trades. Let me go by the time. Uh, let's go from the earliest to start out. And I don't see a sell for that ONCS. So I might be still holding that. I hope not, though. Nope, I'm out of it, but I don't know when. Okay, there it is. Negative 340. But okay, so ONCS for the week. That was on the 10th, of course. If I'm getting involved in anything, it's doing something. And if as a trader, that's what you have to do. But if I would have held this thing, look at my results. I already took a loss on it of $340. Paper trading practice in at 104. And I was out at 87. So that's darn near 20 cents. I took a big loss, got very stubborn. This thing pulled all the way back, and I'm near the low. Well, not all the way at the low down here at 83, but close enough to it, being that I got in at 104. So I got to stretch my time frame a little bit to get back to the 10th. Let's squeeze this thing. So out the gate, it ran up. Got to the high. This is 10 minutes candle. So within 20 minutes, this play was completely done as it cracked beneath the VWAP. As I said in other videos, when the stock gets beneath the VWAP, it's hard for it. It's almost no return for it, especially when the bears got control of the market. So I didn't get out early enough. Let this thing come all the way down to my crack beneath my 4 VMA, beneath the 9, beneath the 13. After it gets beneath the 13, I'm like, I'm about done with it. I don't know how long I stayed in, but it was beneath all my moving averages. And if I slide out, it didn't do anything. Rest of the day, I got beneath this 90 sell point. I got out at 87. Tried to give it a little bit more wiggle room since I think that day it opened up around 90. It had gapped up and opened up around 90. And I didn't want to hang out in this stock and let it return all the way back down to 80. But I stayed there way too long anyway. Got out at 87. This is why you paper trade. But was that the only trade I took for that day? That was the only trade I took for that day. Played with MYOS on the 11th. In at 171, 20 cents later, out at 151 for a $600 loss on the 11th. Gap up, got a wide range. That's the only reason why you would want to play it. And luckily, it's already showing up. I probably wasn't patient enough because this thing ended up later on in the day coming back, but I only got the first hour to play with, which is where all the volatility is anyway. And that's where you want to play these things, is where the volatility is. When it's pulling back like this, I'm getting scared and I'm getting out. I was hoping for a retest of the highs. I already know I probably didn't get that retest and didn't wait long enough for it to push back and give me some of my change back and got out with a loss. I ain't going through every stop. More than anything, all I really want to do is go P&L in reverse. Look at these numbers. My goodness. I mean, this is as far as trading, period, because this is still actuality of your performance when you're trading. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I got to go through these numbers because it was definitely a bad week. I done gave back thousands this week. Negative $6,000. I've never had a trading week like this here. You know what I'm saying? Just in those. Look at the history. So I was 60, 92, 100, 120, 260, 290, 300, 340. Just making sure I got all of them in there. 450, 600, 1600, 2500. Didn't have much green on the week at all, so I know this is a big losing week. So I got that. I'm gonna go plus. These are the tiny numbers. So negative $3,700, and I really can tell because I had got down to about 99 100,000, a little bit better than 100,000 from the last week. So the last 2 weeks for me have been treacherous. I'm in very dangerous territory. Uh, no real winning for me in the last 2 weeks. That's why I let my account just sit. I go back and forth between a mixture of doing both practice paper trading and trading, as I'm only going to really get about 1 or 2 trades in per week anyway for now. But I'm trying to paper trade. This was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 trades for the week. As I'm still holding this life advantage. So that would have been 20, but I'm still holding it because for me right now, until this thing breaks down this 13 EMA, I'm gonna stay in it because the trend, once the price action breaks down to 13, I'm getting out. I'm gonna do that for a lot of these positions that I'm holding because you're not in the game to lose, even if it's practice. You know, you don't want to practice losing. There are going to be losses in the market, but you don't want to practice losing. You know what I'm saying? But this life advantage, man, LFVN, I'm really liking this. I'm really liking this. We got a break right there above 1339. The next break will have to be up here around 1550, but I'm seeing resistance, pretty much 15-ish. About $15 is holding as resistance. Big sell-off today in the market, so this thing dropped off 30 cents to the tune of 2%, kind of like the Dow did. And that's always important to watch. Dow down 2.2, good strong stock down 2.06. So that's it for me for the week. I didn't really do any actual trading, but I did some actual paper trading, trying to practice because the market, you're never going to be in the perfect market. And my skill level is not there yet. I've never traded against a bear market. Never traded in the bear market. Haven't really traded full-time period, so still trying to get to that mark. This is how you get there. Practice makes perfect. This is Pursuit of Freedom.